Okay, hello everyone, my name is Gevar and I'm gonna go play the game, obviously. And this is my first attempt to stream the game. I have no experience, no know-how, I just thought I would like to try it. I have been trying to set up my gear for the last 3 hours. I hope the quality would be acceptable, but obviously I have no proper lighting, no hardware like camera or microphone. And let's jump to the game. The game is Gloomhaven. It's an early access build, and this is the game based on the board game. Actually, the Gloomhaven is #1 ranked board game right now. I always wanted to try it, but the game box cost over $150, so it's outside my usual range. So I am happy they decided to make more affordable digital port of the game, and since I play the board games solo in many cases, most of the time, it won't bother me. This is the digital copy. Since it's an early access, not all the features are available, but I did not make any proper research of what features are or are not available, so we are on the same page right now, and I think I will start with the tutorial. There is some text. I think I'll read it out loud, so it would be easier for me and we'll avoid the awkward silence. It was supposed to be an easy job: track the bandits to their lairs, sneak inside, grab and loot, and get out sharpish. It's unclear exactly when it all went wrong. Perhaps it was the crackhead smashing the entrance open loudly with his fists, or the brute ramming a bandit guard's face into wall to strive his attempts at alerting the others. Split up from the Craigheart, after fighting through hordes of bandits, the brute finds his way into a disused storeroom and hunkers down, trying to get his breath back. Suddenly the door at the other end of the room swings open. Well, what have we here then? It looks like Brute is going to have to fight his way out here. In Gloomhaven, the first thing that you do each round is to pick 2 ability cards for character to use on their turn. Since the Brute needs to get across the room to deal with this bandit guard, you will need to select a card that lets you move at least 4 hexes, and then a card with an attack to try and take this guard down. You can look through your card by mousing over them on the left. So those are the cards. I knew few things about the board game, but I haven't played, so I remember some rules from the reviews or reading the rule book, but Uh, I just don't remember most of them, so we will be learning. So in the normal games you will have multiple cards. The number over here is the initiative number, so the lower you pick, and your opponents will pick some as well, the quicker you will act. So back to the tutorial text. Provoking Roar and Grab and Go are the only ones you currently have available, but should get job done nicely. So the last card is Long Rest and it's not available. Note the first card you select will also set your initiative for the round. The lower the number, the earlier in the round the character will act. So choose Provoking Roar first to go early here. You can always switch the initiative before committing if you change your mind. So we'll choose Provoking Roar, 10 initiative is quite low, so quick, and then Grab and Go. Each card has upper and down lower part, but I guess it would show up in the tutorial. So just do what the machine tells you to do. And here I choose end selection. I've chosen these two cards. Over here is my initiative number. Enemies draw their ability cards each round after the player, so you don't know what they will be doing or what their initiatives will be until this point each round. It looks like as if the guy was planning on shielding himself and retaliating. So English is not my first language, but so as you probably can hear, but I'll try my best. Maybe after a little bit of practice, my pronunciation will get better. So he was planning on shielding himself and counter-attacking, but because you choose to act quickly with the initiative of 10, he won't have those active until after the brute's turn due to his lower initiative of 15. So if he have chosen Bandit Guard, he will have one shield and one retaliate with initiative of 15. I don't know exactly what does it mean. There's look like some kind of hit points, his movement, his attack strength and his range. So let's continue. Now it's time to act. Each half of the card represents an action comprised of one or more abilities. So those are two cards. You get to use two actions per turn, and you can pick any of the four card halves on the left to use as your first action, but note that you must then use the opposite side of the other card for your second action. And my camera crashed. Yeah. So I'll just turn it off and we'll return to the game. So the most time of setting up this gear was trying to figure out why my camera crashes. I tried Google drivers and settings of the camera, etc. Nothing seems to help. It looks like my antivirus is blocking it, but I cannot get to the settings to unlock it. So you won't be looking at me during the game, so maybe it's for the best. So back to the game. In other words, have you can Here you can choose either the top half of Provoking Roar and then the bottom half of Grab and Go, or the bottom, or the other way around. So continue. Now, as the bandit guard is on the other side of the room, let's choose the bottom half of Grab and Go and get over here. So there is move 4. You could always use the card for the move 2 or attack 2. This obviously is better, so let's choose it. Oh, and continue. And now I can move to the different places they tell me to go over here, so let's obey. So this is the early access, and I have no my hardware optimized as well, so there might be some little hiccups here and there. Do you see how Grab and Go has become all grey, as I can see, and smoky? This is to show you that Grab and Go has been discarded now that you have used one of its action. This means that you can't use it again until you recover it back to your hand. More on that later. The brute is up close and personal with the bandit guard now, so it's time to give him a taste of your steel. Hit him with the top half of Provoking Roar, so this is attack 2 and disarm. There is a little tooltip that says that disarming prevents him from using attack abilities for the next turn. So let's choose it. I'll continue, pick it, and now I will left click, yeah, and once again left click to continue. Oh, there is a big lag, or no, the pausing animation. Every attack you make draws an attack modifier from your modifier deck. So in the board game it would be an actual deck of cards with different numbers, and they will modify the damage I will deal. In this case, you can see above the bandit guard that you drew +1, so that makes 2 from Provoking Roar, +1 from the attack modifier, thus dealing a total of 3 damage. This is his hit points. Bosh. I don't know what this sound should represent. So he had 3 hit points and we have dealt 3 damage, so he's dead and disarmed. Nicely done. You can hover over the crossed swords icon to the left of your ability cards to see what attack modifiers you have left. Let's do so now. So in the deck there is, let's see, I cannot, 1 miss, 1 -2, 5 -1, 4 +1s, 1 +2, 1 double damage, and I believe it's 6-0, so no modifiers. So there is a chance of total miss, there is a chance for double damage, other than that there's plus or minuses. While mousing over this icon, you can see that how many of each of these 7 base attack modifier card types there are in your deck. So those are the base attack modifiers. As the game goes, you will modify this deck, and maybe you'll have the bigger chance for dealing additional damage or some other effects. Each modifier value has a number of filled in or grayed out pips below to indicate how many of that modifier are still left and discarded respectively. Whenever you draw times 0 or times 2 modifier, the modifier deck will shuffle the discarded cards back in, so um, you'll reset your deck and reset the chances of different cards. By the way, do you see that gold on the floor? Yes, I can see that the bandit left behind. Pick it up. You need to perform to pick it up. You need to perform a loot action. There can appear on the ability card with a number of indicating the radius around that you can loot. However, if the player character ends their turn on gold or chest, they will loot that hex for free. Perhaps you will get some gold out of this escapade after all. If these bandits don't kill you first. Yeah, my reading in English is so. So here and there I will lose this proper accent or proper narrating of the things because I'm trying to process, to read, to speak at the same time. So sorry for that. One last thing before moving to the next round. Through this tutorial, you'll notice that the camera moves to focus on the action. You can move the camera around using the following controls, so the basic camera bindings, rotate. So I really like how the game looks. The board game looks good, but obviously it's not in the 3D, and I like the models. And some of the effects, they really tried hard. But probably this is the way to do if you are dealing with the best board game ever in the world. So you can also rotate the camera by dragging your mouse with the middle mouse button held. So, yeah. Nothing left to do now but end the bird's turn and get onto the next round. Use the button below to do so. So I think for this time I'll play through the tutorial and end the stream there. As I said, this is the first time I'm trying something like this, so there will be a lot room for the improvement and some fixing the issues with my camera and other stuff. Right back to the matter of getting out of here. The brute is looking a little worse for wear, and with no monster in the current room, now is a good time to rest and get some energy back, or rather some cards. Yeah, so in this game your deck of cards and actions are basically your hit points. Most of the cards, as you play them, you just discard them and you can get them back. But there are some more powerful moves which makes you remove the cards from the deck for the duration of the whole encounter. So this is like the timer, soft timer of number of actions you can do before you would be knocked out and fail the mission, the dungeon. During ability card selection, if you have at least 2 discarded cards, then you may perform a long or short rest to recover some of them. All of the brute's ability cards are currently discarded, so yeah, they are grayed out. Long rest doesn't count as a card, and as such you will have to rest to continue. Short rest will burn 1 of your discarded cards at random, losing it for the rest of this scenario, but we will recover all other discarded cards before continuing your turn as normal, so you can recover cards to use immediately in this very turn. Long rest takes up the whole turn and is used instead of selecting 2 ability cards, giving the character an initiative of 99. However, you not only get to choose which card to burn instead of being at random, but the character will perform Heal 2 action and refresh all item cards. So I misspoke. The cards are more like your stamina, not health. The health is the separate thing. Doing that in the midst of enemies tends to be a risky move, but with no enemies in here right now, let's have the brute go for a nice long rest. So regardless if you take short or long rest, you will lose 1 card. So this is the timer. And the difference is the short rest, this card's cut at random, and the long rest you will get to choose, and you will heal, but you will lose the whole turn to do so. So as there are no enemies around, it's better to take long rest. The enemies not visible on the board will not take the action. It's the same as in the board game, so obviously in the board game you cannot make actions for things you cannot see. At least not in this kind of board game. So I'll take the long rest. There are 2 gold on the floor, so yeah, ending selection. Now there are a few cards and I get to choose which one to discard. Time to choose a card to lose, not discard or remove, rather than discarding. Which is never an easy choice. Grab and go may look weak, but the mobility it offers could be important. For now, let's burn Leaping Cliff. So we'll burn this card. It allows to attack for free on the 2 hexes adjacent, so and gets 1 XP, and it also allows us to move free, which would be jump, and we will generate some kind of energy, but more on it later. So I confirm there are only 4 cards left in my deck, so I hope the next room will be the last one with the enemies. So I'm ending my turn because I spent the whole turn resting and getting my health back. One of the most important tactical moments when exploring dungeon is when to open doors. When a door is opened, all enemies in the next room are immediately added to the initiative track and will act this round. You will not get to finish the current character turn, however. You do get to finish the current character's turn, however, even if the enemy with lower initiative is revealed. With that in mind, you want to look carefully through the cards available to you to see what your options are. You can hold down the Alt key to see the current character's full hand of cards all at once to assist with decision making during the card selection. Feel free to try this now before clicking continue. So this is my whole deck. This 1 card is removed. Those are the rest of the cards I still have available. In this scenario, let's choose Spare, Dagger and Grab and Go, so I'll take the Spare Dagger first to lower my initiative, but since there are no enemies over here, the initiative really will not matter, because I get to end my activation before the enemies, regardless of their initiative. So we can open the door using Grab and Go's bottom half move to safety with the remaining move points and hopefully be in range to throw spare daggers at the nearby enemies. continue. So spare daggers we will use for the top action, so attack 3 with range 3 and some XP. And grab and go, we will use the bottom action to move 4. And selection, just pick my movement. I really want this gold, but they don't let me do this. Or will they? No. So I'll move. Can I move? No, I cannot. So I will move over here. What a surprise, more bad guys before doing anything else. Let's check out what these enemies are doing this turn by either hovering over the portraits or figures themselves. Let's start with the bandit archer. So this is the archer. He will attack 3 with range 5. He has 4 hit points, so my daggers would not kill him. Okay, and the other guy will move 1 point, so to keep this in mind, and he will attack, but if we are not in his range, he won't hurt us. Okay. Just a ranged attack planned from the archer, no moving, good to know. Let's look at the bandit cards now. So the archer has the range of 5, so it's possible to move away. Maybe there is a cover, but I'm not sure. So the bandit guard will move and attack. Guard intends to move and attack, but will only be able to. He will be only able to move a single hex. Now that we know what the enemy is up to, we can make informed decision about how best to finish the remainder of Brute's turn. A little bit spoiler, there is a trap over here, so we probably will push enemy over there or something like this. Your best bet is to get the Brute out of range of the guard's move, whilst getting as close to the archer as possible. She doesn't have a move this turn, so if we move the Brute next to her, she will have to ranged attack from an adjacent hex and incur disadvantage, meaning she will draw 2 attack modifiers and apply the worst one. Okay, so cool. From there, the bandit guard will still be in range to be hit by spare daggers, top half, yet unable to reach the Brute attack back this round. This plan should minimize the amount of damage Brute takes. This round will still getting a good amount of damage. Let's do this. Okay, sounds cool. So we'll move over here. Now I'll choose the attack 3 with range of 3, and I will attack this guy over here. Yes. The ranged attack allows to hit enemies further than 1 hex away, but as mentioned, when entering room you will incur disadvantage if you try to use ranged attack on an adjacent enemy. As you can see, the archer now has a flashing disadvantage icon to indicate that this and the attack preview above her head is in purple. Okay, so she has disadvantage. Since the bandit guard isn't adjacent to the Brute, let's throw the spare dagger at him. So, see that? If you had attacked the archer, the critical double modifier would have been discarded. Not that we knew, mind you, but minimizing such eventualities is a good way to play. So we will end the turn. The archer drew +2 and -2 and picked the worst one. Phew. I'm not good with this narration. It could have been nasty. She very nearly dealt you 5 damage instead of just 1. You can see why trying to give a ranged enemy is disadvantage when you can is a good strategy. However, if an enemy with a ranged attack has movement before the attack on their turn, they will back away if possible first. Unfortunately though, 1 damage is still go through. When damaged, you choose to either lose that much health, burn 1 available card, or 2 discarded cards. It's usually best to only burn cards when it's very high damage or if you really have to. So for now, let's just have the brute take 1 damage. And the end of the round. Just the archer left in here now. Let's go early and play a nice little trick on her using that handy trap on the floor. So we will pick Provoking Roar, which let us move real quick. The top half is attack and disarming, the bottom half any enemy who targets one of your adjacent allies with an attack in this round gets you with that attack instead, regardless of the attack range. I don't know what this symbol means, but basically this is taunting the enemy, but we will probably don't need to use it because we will be using Sweeping Blow, which lets us attack 2 in the 3 hexes in front of us in any direction, but also let us move 3 spaces and push enemy 1 space, and it will target all adjacent enemies. So pushing need to be to move enemy away from you, so I can push her over here, here or here, but not over there, because she will be the same distance from me. So Sweeping Blow and selection. She picked move and attack with range 4, but our initiative is better. Okay. We will use Provoking Roar disarming attack on her first, that will both weaken her and to prevent any attacks back. Should the rest of the plan go away. So she'll just run away, but not hurt us. Even if the drawn card modifier causes no damage to be dealt, she will still gain the disarmed condition and be unable to attack with brute back. So we'll disarm her. Here. So 3 damage. She's 1 away from dying. Another great hit. Now let's move closer to the door and give her a nudge into the rusty old trap. So pick this one, move over here. Oh, so yeah. So okay. And we will skip the rest of the movement and attack her and push her over here. So as I said, we could push her here, here or here, but not to this or this place, because it wouldn't make her any more distant from us this way. So, and this trap will deal 1 damage, so confirm the push. And she is dead. Ending the turn. Ending the round. It's time to check what's now the next round, but the brute has no available cards remaining, so let's take the long rest again. Let's burn Provoking Roar, as its bottom half is no use to us right now, and the top half is comparable to some other of our other cards. Worth noting now that with the Brute's card pool diminishing, if a character ends their turn with fewer than 2 playable cards and fewer than 2 discarded cards, they will be exhausted and unable to act, no matter how much health they have left. If all of your characters become exhausted, it's game over. So let's continue. We will remove Provoking Roar. Now we will end the turn and the round. Right. Let's see what's through this next door. Same tactics as the last time. Dagger and grab and go. This one. There. Selection. Move over here. So there are quite a lot of enemies, and even though there are only 3 icons on top, there are 4 enemies, because there are, I don't know why. So, wow, look at all the treasure in here, and 3 bandit cards too. This ain't gonna be easy. Hang on, who's that in the corner? Okay, so this one is probably a friend. This is Crackheart, albeit looking in somewhat rough shape, more so than usual. With him back in the party, we can swiftly dispatch these bandits without issue. Looks like he's going to be up next, so let's finish the brute's turn. If you mouse over the guards, you can see they are planning to move to attack 2 with so few cards left of our own. We need to carefully navigate the last room to avoid exhaustion. Let's get the brute over towards the Crackheart and attack the closest bandit card while we are at it. Okay. So this is 1 bandit guard, and those are 2 others. With move 2 over here, we will be outside of their reach, so let's move over here. And now I have I know what you're thinking. Spare Dagger is a ranged attack, but the brute is standing next to the target, and disadvantaged attack is surely not the most intelligent move. Well, on the other half of the card, you can also find default actions for the situation like this. So there is attack 2 over here, which isn't ranged, so we will draw only 1 card. To the left and to the right of the central initiative are the 2 small default action buttons. This allows the character to perform the melee attack for 2 instead of the top action, or default move of 2 instead of the bottom action. They are pretty handy when you are in situations just like this one. Let's attack the bandit guard using the default bottom spare diamond. So this is the tutorial, but I would probably just move over here and throw the dagger on this guy. I will get more XP and more damage, but okay. So we have only +0 at this time, but by choosing not to ranged attack from an adjacent hand, you didn't incur disadvantage, so we will deal 2 damage to him. will end the turn. Over the Craig Hart now. He already has some cards selected for the turn, so let's see how we can best use them. It would be great if we could move up next to that pair of bandit guards and hit them both with avalanche, but we can't currently reach them with the move abilities available. However, if you look at over the Crackheart's inventory, he's wearing some boots of striding. So those are the boots during your movement at +2 move to a single movement. Okay. Let's use them to get close to guards now and ping them for a bit extra damage while we at it. So we will use move 2. All adjacent allies and enemies suffer damage, and there is an fuse element icon, so something with earth magic. And now we will choose the boots, and we could move over here. And now we could... Yeah, I'm confirming this action to deal 1 damage around. Many ability card actions are a compromise of multiple abilities and effects, and these always play out in order from top to bottom. For example, the bottom half of Craig Heart's Rumbling Advance is a move ability followed by damage ability, followed by an Earth Elemental Infusion. What are infusion, I hear you ask? If you look at the right hand side of the screen, the elemental infusion folder can be seen. So this is elemental. And it's now shown that earth is currently being infused. This means at the end of this character's turn it will be available for the remainder of this round and the next for any character, be it player or monster, to consume it in order to augment certain abilities. As such, the character who infuses an element cannot use it the turn, as it only available after the current turn in this round is over. We'll get into that auto consumes in just a moment. Back to the action now. Let's hit those bandits with avalanche. Avalanche top half is an area effect attack as denoted by the hex pattern that shows you its shape. This one. It is a melee area effect attack as the shape has a grey hex representing the hex of Craig Heart on it, with the red hexes indicated those that will be attacked. The shape can be rotated around Craig Hearts using the mouse, so you'll be able to line up the 2 hexes attack with the bandits card. So we will use this attack 4 +1 attack if there would be earth infusion, but unfortunately Craig Hart could not use his own infusion. So we could attack around, but it's done. Did you notice the burn icon on the bottom right corner of Avalanche? Yeah, here's burn. Actions with this icon burn this card instead of discarding it after use, which means you cannot recover them by normal means such as resting, although certain effects do exist that permits a recovery of burned cards. Using the default action that accompanies an action with a burn icon, will discard the card after use. Normal, however. Now after you end the Craig Heart's turn, it's time for the bandit guards to take theirs as you know, now have two players controlled by characters. Know that monsters target first based on distance and then on initiative. So the Brute and Craigheart are going to face one guard each here. Uh-oh, the Craigheart is in trouble. The damage from this hit would be lethal and exhaust him. In this case, you only really have the option of burning one available card, as the damage would be lethal. Bear in mind that when a character runs out of cards, they are exhausted anyway, so be careful not to burn too many cards too quickly. It's generally easier to regain health points than cards. For now, let's choose to burn Crushing Grasp. So I will burn one card, it would be Crushing Grasp. So something immobilizing powerful attack or looting card. You have no choice but for Brute to take the damage here. If you burn either an available card or two discarded cards, he won't have enough cards for the next turn and would instantly be exhausted. So we will take 3 damage. And end the round. Once again, the Brute doesn't have enough available cards to even take turn on this turn. He's going to have to rest, but a long rest would let the Bandit Guard go first and likely deal enough damage to wipe out the Brute before he could heal. Let's go for the short rest this time. So we'll pick the short rest and lose one random card. Spare Dagger isn't exactly ideal as the randomly selected card to burn, as you might really need that extra attack on the bottom half. However, once per short rest, you can opt to redraw the random card to burn another at cost of 1 damage. Scary though it may seem to do with the Brute only having 2 health left. Let's redraw. We know it will burn Grab and Go as it's the only other discarded card. We will burn Grab and Go. Now that the Brute has enough cards to take turns, select Spare Dagger first. Okay. Continue. Once again, we want to go as early in the round as possible to hopefully get our turn before the Bandit Guard. So let's select Explosive Punch. Crater and Massive Boulders top has a very similar, but let's pick Crater just to be safe. We can play around the attack modifiers missing using Crater Push. So Explosive Punch for movement. Crater. Luckily for you, the Bandit Guard has drawn a card with greater initiative, so both the Brute and Craigheart will get to go before them. Let's finish them off. They will move, attack, and they will strengthen self. Okay, so they want me to attack around me, so let's do this. Great job. You are now got an opportunity to grab the chest before the Craigheart hopefully finishes off the last bandit. Select it. Okay. So we will move this over there. And here's like a bug or something. Oh, yeah. Let's try. There's no loading. Okay, nothing highlighted. So I believe this would be close to the end of the tutorial. I probably replay it real quick to see if there are some other important rules at the end. But I think this would be it for today's video. It turned out a little bit longer than I suspected, but I'm just learning. So let me guys know what do you think. As for now, I can tell you that I'm planning to try to fix this stupid camera on my laptop. I'll try to get a better lighting, and maybe I'll live stream, but those are the long-term goals. I had some fun, but we'll see for how long this streaming thing would be interesting for me. So thanks for watching. Uh, See you next time. Bye. And where is this? Stop.